Redskins corner. Let's go.
Yes.
It's Redskins corner.
Finally, no Pete.
Welcome to the Redskins corner.
Fuck. No Dallas fans telling us we can't do this. Fuck that shit. We do whatever we want. We in DC, baby.
Yeah, we talking shit about Pete now.
It's going to be funny to see how many times when we come into the Redskins corner, we're going to be happy or upset.
Always upset. Always upset. Never happy.
I don't believe
For
in
the
happiness
first
anymore.
Redskin corner, well, when you're a Redskins fan, yeah, happiness comes few and far between. But for the first Redskins corner, I'm upset. Consistent with what we just said. Because, dude, we gave up Quinton Dunbar, who I was happy to trade, but we gave him up for a 5th-round pick. And
I agree
minimum,
with what,
you should have asked for a 3rd.
I agree. No, but he's not Darius Slay. That's what JK was saying earlier, that he's not Darius Slay.
He had one good season where he played like a top-end cornerback. But at the end of the day, he's still not like a guy like Darius Slay. Darius Slay went for a 3rd.
Darius Slay went for a 3rd and more, though, right? It wasn't just a 3rd straight up.
Third and a 5th. 3rd and a 5th.
So then at least get a 4th for him. At the end of the day, it's not just that he's not as good as Darius Slay. He's a number 2 corner minimum, right? He could be at number 1. I wouldn't want him as my number 1, or he could be at number 2. Darius Slay, also, right? He's a number 1 or number 2. You get a 3rd for him. If you're giving up a number 1 or a number 2 corner, regardless if he's Jalen Ramsey or Darius Slay, you got to at least get back a 3rd. You're giving up a starting corner. He's going to start for Seattle. He'll start opposite of Griffin. And all you got is a 5th. Like, that's garbage. I feel like Ron Rivera just wanted to tear this Band-Aid off, get rid of this player who's a nuisance in the locker room, to, install his culture and implement this new, model that he's going with in Washington, which I'm all about. Like, you have to show players you're not going to bullshit around. You're creating a new culture here. And, if you're not with the program, you're going to be sent out. So I'm happy with that. But, dude, get something back. Don't give away players for free. We're not in that business of being able to afford giving away starting number 2 corners for a 5th-round pick. Whatever player we pick with that 5th-rounder, guaranteed he's not on the roster in 3 years. It's so hard to get 5th-round picks to hit. And you have a number 2 quarter who's starting. That's a hit. And you just gave him away for a player that you're going to draft who's not going to be a hit. They gave him away for cheap. Seattle robbed us. And I don't think they had to work hard for it. I think Ron wanted to get rid of this player who he's perceiving as being a nuisance and a hindrance to his movement. And I wish he held out. He's holding out with Trent Williams. Thank God. He's not giving away Trent for a 5th or a 4th.
Yeah, but Trent should be an
all-pro. He's a starting tackle.
Which at a more important position, and he's better at that position. He is a top 5 player at his position. Quinton Dunbar, the market was set with these moves that Darius Slay is going for a 3rd and a 5th. I understand, but Darius Slay is that much better than Quinton Dunbar. Quinton Dunbar, if you look at his tape,
not from 3rd to 5th.
Huh? What? Yes.
How many starting corners are there in the NFL?
But he's borderline starting. He's not.
But how many?
How many starting corners are there? 64.
More than that, technically, because some teams play.
Yeah, some play slots. Sure.
Let's say 64. Let's say 64 starting corners. So there's 64 men in the league that are starting corners, right? So let's do the math real quick. There's 53 players on a roster. You have 32 teams. So out of 1696, only 64 of them play corner, right? Now, how many starting corners are there in the world?
I mean, there was Darius.
Still just 64. This is the only professional football league that we value as credible.
I don't think that a Trent Williams is the same comparison. How many top 5 left tackles are there in the league right now? 5.
Well, I'm agreeing with you. Yeah. We better get more than a 3rd for Trent Williams.
I think that Quinton Dunbar, they've been sitting there trying to move him, and he isn't moved because look.
No,
because this has been happening for weeks that they're trying to move him, because this happened weeks ago where he said that he wants to be out pretty much. They must have been looking around. They must have been trying to package him with something else to just get rid of him at this point.
To be honest, yes, they did give him for cheap. They probably. Realistically, if they wanted, they could have probably gotten a little bit more out of him.
You know who probably wanted him was probably the Eagles wanted him because they need corner help that bad. I mean, or the Cowboys, they lost their corner, but you rather take a fifth and give him up to your rival at that point, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But where I was coming from is just that, the Redskins just had zero leverage in the situation. They don't have any leverage in the Trent Williams situation. They know you got players that don't want to play for that organization, and they're going to end up holding out if they don't. CBA makes it more difficult for them to hold out, but technically, if they don't want to play, they don't have to play. Like, who's going to force them? They pay their fines.
So I actually think opposite. I think they have huge leverage with the Trent Williams situation for two reasons. One, why is the Trent trade not happening, right? It may be partly because the Redskins are asking for a second-round pick and teams don't want to give it. It may also be partly because Trent Williams is asking for a lot of money and no team wants to give up a pick and have to re-sign him for what he's demanding. Why is Trent asking for that much money? Because he lost an entire year's salary, right? He lost $12.5 million last year. He's projected to also make $12.5 this year. He's hoping to make a new contract to increase his current salary and make up what he lost last year. No team wants to pay him that.
I don't agree with that.
He can't afford to miss out another year.
You look at the top paid left tackles right now. They're getting paid like bare minimum $16 million a year. Guys that are not nearly as good as Trent Williams are getting paid $16 million a year. Trent is just trying to get paid what he's due. He's trying to get paid top five. He's trying to get paid like a top five left tackle, which he is. Understandably. I get what you're saying. Like, he's trying to make up for his salary last year, which does make sense. Like, if he didn't have that situation that happened last year, then maybe he wouldn't demand as high of a salary. But the fact is, he's due up for a contract extension, and he's just trying to get paid like one of the guys that's the best at his position. That's what it simply is.
The Redskins have more leverage than Trent Williams because Trent Williams can't afford to lose another year's salary. Trent Williams can't sit out like he did last year. Last year he could, and he felt it in his back pocket, like he took the hit. Trent Williams absolutely cannot. If anything, Trent Williams has to play this year, and he has to try to play well so that if he's going to go hit free agency next year, teams are going to look at him and be like, oh, he took a year off, but look, he still played awesome for the Redskins. Now let's give him the money. Not only does he have to play for the Redskins because he can't afford to take another whole year off, but he has to play really well if he's going to play for the Redskins so that his market looks great this time next season. The Redskins have all the leverage when it comes to Trent and them. He needs to convince a team to pay him.
I think the difference between Trent Williams and Quentin Dunbar is Trent Williams, you're looking for the goal mine at the end of it because perceived value is much higher, so they're waiting on it, that they can deal with the nuisance of Trent at this point in their mind because they believe a second-round pick will come out of it. Quentin Dunbar, at most, it was a 4, and it was like, I don't want this guy near all the guys we're signing, and whenever we get rookies anymore, I don't need that. Just get rid of him. What's the difference between a 4th and a 5th? I think that's what the difference in those
Big difference, dude. I would take Dunbar and give Seattle a 5th to get a 4th at least. It's better to have a 4th than a 5th. It's better to have a 5th than a 6th.
Agreed. But I think it's our locker room, our culture had been so bad for so long that it's like, fuck it. Let's start new now at this point. And I really truly believe that they had been shopping this and they weren't bites. I can't imagine they weren't shopping this the whole time. I think this has been in the works for a while because that's why he tweeted he's fine with staying, right? He tweeted he was fine with staying at some point. There was a conversation that happened that Dunbar had backtracked what he had said. And that means they were shopping him. I imagine they were shopping him. And I don't know if he wanted it or not, but I didn't want to see him leave in general because I thought maybe we could keep him for another year because, I mean, our cornerback situation is looking bleak still. I mean, we have Fuller now.
Now it really is. We have Fuller, that's one guy.
That's one guy.
You don't have a second guy. So now you're probably drafting or signing someone in free agency. I wish they at least got a 4th for him.
Breland's a free agent.
Breland's available. Maybe that's the move they're going to make. I'm happy bringing him back. I don't want to pay him crazy money.
We should have let him go in the first place.
I was okay letting him go. I didn't want to let Fuller go.
He didn't want to be part of that team back then.
Yeah.
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 Which I don't blame him.
Yeah, that's fair.
That move, I wasn't happy. The other Redskins move, I'm enjoying them. I like the Sean Davis signing from Pittsburgh Steelers. It's a 1-year deal, so it's a make it or break it deal. He's a University of Maryland alum, so he's a local guy. Huge Sean Taylor fan. When he was getting drafted, he would read all these articles. So I'm happy to get him. We cut Monte Nicholson today. He was the guy I thought was going to have to compete with Sean Davis, but they cut Monte Nicholson for his off the field issues. Which is a 4th-round pick down the drain. And he's a guy who can play. Like, Monte actually showed the kind of range that you need to play free safety in this league. And I was surprised they let him go. I like the signing from the Detroit Lions, the running back, JD. He's not bad. He's a speedster. He's going to take over Chris Thompson's previous role. And then everyone else is kind of like small plug-in players here and there, right? They got Thomas Davis, the 37-year-old linebacker who played with Ron Rivera for most of his career in Carolina. Logan Thomas, the former Virginia Tech tight end now.
That tight end position is looking so bad that if we're going into the season with what we have right now, or no, not the season. It can't be the season. If we're going into training camp with this, oh my God, I'm going to fucking have a problem. I'd rather just have Jordan Reed on the roster, not doing anything at this point, because it'll be the same outcome. Like, it's, oh man, we need to make a move there. I can't stand this tight end.
The thing that frustrates, they should have gone harder for Austin Hooper. They wanted him, and from what I heard, they offered something around $9 million a year, and he got 11, right, from Cleveland.
Yeah.
The thing that upsets me is you were paying Vernon Davis and Jordan Reed collectively the same money that Austin Hooper just got. So why don't you just take the money you were already paying per year for tight ends and give it to Austin Hooper and fill that role? I hate that they were willing to go up to 9, but the difference of $2 million to get to 11, they weren't willing to do, when this is the amount you were paying last year anyways for these two guys.
I mean, 11 is too high. 11's too high for Austin Hooper. It was such a dead pool of tight end that he's overvalued. I mean, he's overvalued. He had one good season. Like, he's not.
I had him in fantasy last year. He was good. Like, it's not even he had one good year. He was really good. He got injured at the end of the last year, but dude, he was going off week after week. Like, tight end's always the hardest spot to fill.
I would have rather.
He was killing it.
I would have given up the 4th round pick for. Oh no, it was a 2nd. Never mind. I was gonna say Hayden Hurst, but it's a 2nd and a 4th. Never mind.
Yeah, 2nd's a big price. And Redskins don't even have a 2nd.
I personally feel like they're gonna draft a tight end, Albert O.
That'd be a good first. He has to be a first rounder, right?
No, he's not going to be. There's no first-round talent tight end in this draft.
Because the Redskins don't have a 2nd either. So the earliest they can draft a tight end is 3rd.
They lost out on Eric Ebron too, so that was super disappointing. That's what I thought was going to be the move. And
I was hoping that they were going for Eric Ebron, but
yeah, same.
Makes sense.
Unless OJ Howard,
they got him for cheap.
Unless there's a thing where they moved Trent Williams to Tampa for OJ Howard to help shore up the line.
Yeah, or they might move him to Cleveland for David Njoku and maybe a 3rd.
I would take that. That I would take.
If I get Njoku and a 3rd, I would 100% take that.
I would take it for Njoku.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Dude, that
might be wishful thinking. They did sign Conklin, so maybe they don't need tackle anymore. But from what I hear, Cleveland would be willing to take on another tackle. But this actually goes to show you, we were talking earlier about Bill O'Brien and how he's completely screwed the Texans. This aggravates how much of a whiff the Redskins had because the Texans wanted Trent Williams last year. And think of what you could have got. They gave up 2 first-round picks for Jeremy Tunsil, and they just traded Hopkins for nothing. Dude, you could have gotten so much for Trent Williams last year from Bill O'Brien.
Hopkins in a 1st. Oh, my God. That would have been so good. If they gave up Hopkins in a 1st.
It, man. Bruce Allen.
I know we're kind of past, I know we're in the Redskins subject, but did you guys hear about what Bill O'Brien and Hopkins' conversation was like?
Yeah.
About the Aaron Hernandez thing?
Yeah.
He's fucking idiot.
And there was something about all of Hopkins' baby mamas hanging around the facility too much because apparently he has children with multiple women. I thought that was funny.
I don't know how you can be so out of pocket and not know. I don't understand. He's a fucking idiot. He's gonna be fired within the next 2 years.
Bill O'Brien's a joke.
Yeah, he's in for the next 2
Yeah,
years.
that's actually well. We need to make bold predictions before the season starts, and it could be anything. It could be record related, team related, but that's one I think I'm going to make is that Bill O'Brien won't be the head coach of the Texans by the end of the year. I think he gets fired.
Mid-season?
I would say I wouldn't say he gets mid-season fired. I'd say he's end of the season fired.
At least by the end of the year, yeah. He's not going to go into the next season as the head coach anymore.
I got 2 questions, Redskins related. One, what do you guys think about this rumor that we'll get out of the second pick? And
I think it's very viable.
Getting out of the second pick and getting a multiple first-round picks, so someone can go get Tua, and then we should probably have one like top 10 and one. It'll be Miami's picks pretty much. I think. I imagine it'll be Miami's picks.
I think it's 100% happening that we're trading with Miami, and we're getting their first.
How do you feel about it? How do you feel about it?
I'm so indifferent because like I understand where it's coming from because A, you didn't do anything in free agency. B, you can get 3 day one starters with those 3 picks. You can pick up Jeffrey Okudah at number 5. You can get Andrew Thomas at their second pick. You can get like Henry Ruggs with their 3rd pick. Like you can get numerous different positions and fill the need. I personally would want to go with Chase Young because if you have the opportunity to get like a Julius Peppers type, a Von Miller type, you go for that. That's like a once in a generation type player. But not saying Chase Young is going to be that player, but you have the opportunity to get that type of player.
I mean, you could say Jeff Okudah could be that good too at a corner. He is pretty damn good at corner too. Like I think he has like the ceiling of a top corner coming out too. So that's the only way that I'd be okay with it is if you get Jeff Okudah out of this and get like one of the later receivers in the first round or just another piece. I'd be totally okay with that. Well, myself. Ross, what do you think?
I think corners are hard to judge, right? Like D. Milner out of Alabama, Morris Claiborne out of LSU. These guys were like top 10 picks. They were the number 1 corners in their draft class, and they were both busts. Like Morris Claiborne has kind of squeezed out himself a good career, but he's nowhere close to what he was projected. So I also think Okudah is going to be a stud. But then again, I at least thought Claiborne was going to be a stud. Milner kind of looked small for my taste, and he ended up being pretty fragile at this level. I don't think they're going to get 3 first-round picks from Miami. And actually,
they're getting 2.
I thought JK said they're going to get 3 first-round picks.
No. That's my prediction that they ask for 3 first-round picks.
That would be awesome. I don't think there's a chance in hell that Miami or anybody gives them 3 first-round picks.
I think it's going to be 2 first and a second.
Miami's the only team that would have to be able to give them 3 first-round picks. But, I think the Raiders have 2
though, right?
Miami has 3.
They don't have to, no, I know they have 3, but they don't have to give they don't have to do anything, right? Like
the
Bengals are not drafting Tua. Yeah, I agree. I'm happy with them staying and get at number 2. But I think the Lions know or Miami knows, hey, if the Redskins stay at 2, we will get Tua. So why would we trade up? Right?
Because
Redskins
it's
are not drafting Tua, Bengals
risk.
Are not drafting.
It's a risk game at that point, right? You're going to act as if no other team wants to come and jump them.
Yeah.
At number 2, you secure Tua. At 2, you secure Tua. No, you get to 2, you are getting the guy you want. Joe Burrow's gone.
Right.
You know that for sure.
I mean, there is an opportunity.
Chase Young is gone.
There's an opportunity that I mean, it's not being like hugely reported, but there's an opportunity. The Lions take him. Stafford, they could be done with Stafford at this point too. They give him 1 more year and they move on from him next year too. So, I mean, I think that's totally possible as well.
Stafford's definitely getting up there in age, and you kind of do want to get Tua that time frame to fully heal. Yeah. So maybe.
Speaking of Tua, there's also the rumors. There have been a couple of mock drafts that said the Redskins take Tua at 2.
That's stupid.
Let's say in a world that they do, how do you feel?
I think the trade today that the Redskins made shows that they're not, right? They went out of their way to get Kyle Allen, who is probably a backup. And so you're not drafting a backup because you're going to draft Tua, because then Dwayne Haskins would be your backup. You wouldn't go out of your way to get Kyle Allen to be your third backup.
No, think about this.
If we did this podcast yesterday, then I think it'd be more of a possibility. I think the Kyle Allen trade completely knocks it out, because Dwayne Haskins would be Tua's backup if you were going to draft Tua. You don't go out of your way to trade for Kyle Allen.
Josh Rosen, they just like Arizona just moved away from Josh Rosen after a season. Like, it's not to keep Dwayne Haskins, it's then to move on from him.
Right, but if you already have Dwayne Haskins on your roster, might as well have him as your number 2, right? Why move on if you're already unless you think you can get a second-round pick back. Yeah, if you think you can get something back, agreed. I don't think they go after Tua.
I've been saying it from the very beginning that Dan Snyder chose his head coach based off of his quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that the plans changed at all, because Dan Snyder runs his team. You know, he said, hey, this is my quarterback. I'm going to go with this guy. Are you okay with that? And, you know, Riverboat Ron said, yep, I'm going to go with this quarterback. I'm going to build my team around him. That's what he's doing.
Okay.
They've been doing nothing but praising Dwayne Haskins this offseason. Last season, people were saying Dwayne is not ready. He's not this. He's not that. He's not this. He's not that. This year, they've been saying Dwayne is a leader. He's doing this. He's doing this. He's doing this. Instead of saying he's not doing this, they're saying he is doing this. So all signs point to Dwayne Haskins being their number 1 quarterback.
Okay. I just want to throw the question out. I saw mock drafts with them. Like, PFF had a mock draft where we're taking Tua, and I was like, why the fuck are we doing that? But then I did watch tape on Tua. The dude is smart. That dude is smart. He is a smart quarterback. That if he's healthy, Miami might be good in a couple of years, because he can read defenses, and he understands an NFL style playbook. Like, he looks like he can play the part.
Yeah, I have no doubt that Tua can and will be successful in the NFL.
Yeah.
Just from his mindset. I don't know about health set, because apparently he's had a couple injuries already.
Yeah. Well, he's cleared to play now. He's cleared for football.
No, he's cleared to play, but like he's had multiple college history.
Yeah.
Injury history.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
that's always a red flag that you kind of want to worry about.
That's fair.
He's in the same boat as Todd Gurley. It's not a question about talent. I think they're both really talented. It's a question about health. Todd Gurley, the only reason he got cut from his team is because they don't think he's got it anymore, health-wise, not talent-wise. Yeah. And same thing with Tua. Like, it's probably health, if anything, that dictates whether he's successful at this level or not.
Fair. All right. Any other Redskins corner-related conversation? Redskins corner conversations.
This was a good Redskins corner for the first one. I was upset but mildly amused.
Over under 10 years. Over under 10 years we win the Super Bowl.
Over.
Is infinity over? Because I don't think it's going to happen.
God, I hope it happens.
Me too, man. I hope we're all wrong. Hope we're all so wrong.
It's actually crazy to think that we could go our entire lives following this team, hoping for this one thing to happen one time for 1 year, and it could never happen. Like, we literally could be fools following this thing for the next 50 years, and when it's all said and done, we're like, holy shit, we wasted all our time following this thing, thinking it may happen once, and it never happened. It's pretty awesome. It's pretty ironic.
That's how sports work, dude. They're disappointing, but somehow we still
have
hope.
Yeah.
Hey, the one season we didn't think the Caps were going to win, they won.
And the one season the Nationals, we didn't think were going to do it, they won.
Back to back, too. It was a good feeling.
All right.
We would have done it again this season if this season didn't get canceled.
Also, the Valor, okay? I was a season ticket holder. Me and JK were.
Don't forget. Mystics, too, yeah.
Oh, man. And the United just did at one point in time.
All right, boys. Great talking to you.
Hail to the Redskins.
Hail to the Redskins.
Rest in peace, Sean Taylor.
Yeah, man. All right. Peace, guys.
Peace.